my beautiful friends, and welcome back to another What I Eat in a Week video. I hope you've been keeping very well. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a whole heap of vegan food that I made in the comfort of my own home. I hope it inspires you to try out something new. And as well as that, support for today's video comes from my incredible friends at Squarespace, who you know by now are my favorite people in web design. I host and designed my own website with Squarespace. I'm obsessed with it. It is so user-friendly, from the ability to seamlessly create blog posts as well as set up an online store and link all of my social media accounts. It really is just kind of like a one-stop shop kind of situation. So if you're interested in hosting and designing your own website, I definitely genuinely recommend checking out Squarespace. You can head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, you can go to squarespace.com/Amanda Ducks, and that will get you 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Okay, and with all that being said, let's get into the delicious vegan food that I ate this week. On Monday morning, I started my day by making a chickpea omelette. This is one of my favorite higher protein breakfasts to make, and I will leave a recipe linked down below if you want to try it out at home. So I poured my chickpea omelette mixture into the pan. I added in some spinach as well as sun-dried tomatoes, and then also some spring onions, and I allowed this to cook. It can be quite messy to fold over, as you can tell by this image, but it is very, very delicious. I love it so very much, and it keeps me full for a really long time, which is why it's one of my favorite savory breakfasts. So I topped it with some sauce, spring onions, and some sesame seeds, and it was delicious. And then at lunchtime, I decided to make a barbecue tempeh sandwich. I used some multigrain sourdough. I then put some avocado on, as well as some cherry tomatoes and black pepper. Then I also added in some cos lettuce as well as my barbecue tempeh. Oh, I love tempeh so much. On the other piece of bread, I put some vegan mayonnaise. I sandwiched this all together, and it was a very quick and simple lunch that was also super nourishing and delicious. When it came to 4 p.m, I was in the mood for something sweet, and so was Cara, so I decided to make us both an iced cacao. I really enjoy this macadamia and oat milk blend, and then I poured the iced cacao mixture over. If you haven't tried iced cacao by now, what are you doing? I will leave it linked down below for you to check out. For dinner, I decided to make an almond butter stir fry with a bunch of veggies I had left in the fridge. I love making a stir fry when I just have a whole heap left over, and this almond butter sauce is very delicious. It's made from almond butter as well as soy sauce, maple syrup, and some sesame oil. I also add in some onion powder and some water, and I mix it together. I have a similar recipe just with peanut butter, so you can sub out the peanut butter for almond butter, which I will link down below. So then I added in some rice noodles to the frying pan. I tossed this all together before I added in my almond butter sauce, and then I continued tossing this all together to get the sauce nice and evenly dispersed between the whole stir fry. It's really delicious. One of my favorite go-to dinners. Definitely try it out. Okay, so when it came to Tuesday morning, I decided to start my day with a cacao peanut butter smoothie with some ice as well as frozen banana, some macadamia oat milk as well as cacao powder. I also added in some vanilla protein powder as well as peanut butter. Then to this, I also added in some hemp seeds. I love adding hemp seeds to a lot of things. I blended it all together until we got this dreamy, creamy consistency. So yeah, this was my breakfast this morning. I love starting my day with this smoothie. It makes me feel really good and tastes absolutely awesome. When it came to 11:30, I decided to make a fresh chickpea salad. This is a go-to for me because it's super simple. I just rinse and drain some chickpeas, put them into a bowl, and then I also add in some cherry tomatoes, which I sliced up, as well as some sun-dried tomatoes. I then also put in some basil. I just like to chop it up finely like this, as well as some spring onion. This is one of those dishes where you can add other things that you would like other fresh veggies. I then also added in some cos lettuce as well as some vegan feta by the Vegan Dairy. This is so delicious. And then I squeezed over some lime juice as well. Then I just very simply tossed this all together, and that was my lunch. It really takes like 10 minutes, and yeah, it tastes delicious. Okay, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that this chocolate is my favorite thing ever. It is so good. It is a butter caramel pecan chocolate. Look at how ridiculous this caramel is. It is absolutely divine, and yes, I'm obsessed with it. So I had this as a snack, and then when it was dinner time, I decided to make a souvlaki inspired dish. This is some souvlaki bread which I heated up with some coconut yogurt tzatziki. I don't think I pronounced that right. Then I added on some lettuce, cucumber, tomato, and some roasted chickpeas. This was a nightmare to wrap. I absolutely overfilled it and did not nail this at all, but this is one of my go-to dinners right now because it's so quick and so easy, and it makes me feel really good. Okay, so Wednesday morning came along and I was in the mood for avocado and in the mood for feta. So what did I make? Avocado and feta on toast, of course. So I put in some avocado as well as lemon into a bowl. Then I also cut in some fresh basil. I love fresh herbs in my avocado toast. I also added in some fresh dill for the same reason, and then I mashed this together. And then I decided to add in some vegan feta. I really enjoy adding feta in at this stage so that it gets it all nice and like evenly dispersed throughout the avocado, and yeah, it adds heaps of extra flavor. So I got a couple of pieces of sourdough, toasted it and topped it with the avo mixture, and that was my breakfast. Then when it came to 12:30, I was in the mood for an iced cacao. I mean, when am I not in the mood for an iced cacao, to be honest? And I once again had this on my favorite macadamia and oat milk. I just had a little one today, but it was still absolutely delicious and the perfect midday snack. When it came time for dinner, I made some beans, rice and greens, a go-to for me, and I put some cucumber as well as spinach into a bowl with some olive oil and some lemon juice, and then I also added in some pepper. I tossed this all together and then I set it aside when I made my bowl. So I started with some cooked brown rice into the bowl, then I added in all of those greens that I had pre-prepared earlier. So fresh, so delicious. I then added in some smoky black beans that I had prepared over the stove and topped it with some coconut yogurt as well as some lime. This is a go-to for me because it's nourishing, super filling, but also tastes really delicious, which is exactly what I like from my food. I was making dinner for myself and for Kara tonight, and I decided to make us some crispy tofu and tempeh salads. So I washed some greens and chopped them and put them into a bowl with a creamy dressing that I had pre-prepared that was just like a cashew base. I then also added in some sun-dried tomatoes as well as some pumpkin seeds as well as hemp seeds, and I continued tossing this all together. When it came time to serve, I then put this greens mixture into 2 separate bowls, and then for Kara's, I topped hers with some crispy tofu that I had made, and I topped mine with some crispy chickpea tempeh. Once again, this is such a go-to for me because it really makes me feel good and it's also super easy to make. I love making crispy tempeh. Thursday morning, I kept it very simple and I just toasted a couple of pieces of sourdough, and then on both of them I put some vegan butter, and then on one of them I added on some Vegemite. If you're new here, I love Vegemite a lot. It's one of life's greatest simple pleasures. Okay. And then on the other piece of toast I put some homemade Nutella. The recipe for this is going to be coming very, very soon. Okay, after that for lunch I just had some leftover lasagna because I had been filming a video this week all about meals that I have been loving lately, and lasagna is something that I have been loving lately. So yeah, this was a very, very quick and easy lunch because it was just leftovers, and I will link the video down below if you haven't seen it yet. So yeah, you can try it out. Lately when I've been ordering takeaway, I've been getting these loaded baked potatoes, and I wanted to try making them out at home. These definitely weren't perfect, but I baked a bunch of potatoes, and then I also made a black bean mixture and I charred some corn. I had this idea of like loaded Mexican potatoes, and in these I also put some fresh salsa on top, and then I topped it with this like smoked paprika cashew cream that I had made. It tasted really delicious, but it definitely needs some tweaking. Okay, then when it comes to Friday morning, I started my day with nothing else other than an avocado. Into this avocado that I put into the bowl, I also added in some lime juice, and then I also added in some salt and some pepper. Okay, then I mashed this all together until it was nice and well mashed. Revolutionary. And then I piled this onto a piece of toasted sourdough, pressed this all down, and then I also decided to top it with some extra black pepper because it tastes so good. And then I also put some hemp seeds on top because I love adding hemp seeds to meals because they are so delicious and so good for you. Then I had some orange juice on the side, and this was my breakfast. When it came to lunchtime, I had a friend over and we decided to just have a simple lunch, so I made these tempeh wraps. Super simple. I just got one multigrain wrap. I put some cashew cheese on that I'm loving so much. I then also added on some spinach as well as cucumber and some cherry tomatoes. Onto my cherry tomatoes, I always put black pepper because it just is a match made in heaven. So that's what I did. And then I also had made some cooked tempeh, so I put this on top as well. I feel like I have a tendency to like overload things and then I can't wrap them properly, but I think I kind of nailed this considering the amount of stuff that I put in here. This again is like such a go-to for me because it's so simple and so easy to make and really nourishing. So yeah, that's what I had for lunch today. Then when it came to dinner, I went a little bit bougie and I made these like spinach and ricotta inspired pasta shells. They are so good, and like whenever I put the time and effort into making these, I just feel amazing. I'm like, I put so much love into this meal and it also tastes so good. So I loaded up these shells and then I topped them with some nutritional yeast. They were sitting in a bed of like a tomato sauce as well. I roasted them in the oven and then they were all ready to go. So I scooped these shells into a bowl and it was a very delicious dinner to end a Monday to Friday of vegan food. Really hope you enjoyed this video and got a new meal idea. As always, thanks for being here, for supporting my YouTube channel. I appreciate it so very much. I'll see you very soon for another video and I hope you have a really beautiful day. Bye.